James Garner confessed it all in the note he left behind to Doris Day. James Garner was born James Scott Bumgarner on April 7, 1928 in Norman, Oklahoma. Garner's early life was full of hard times, toughness, and being very independent from a young age. His mom died when he was only 5 years old, and he did not get along with his stepmom, so he had to grow up fast. This helped him feel deep feelings and care about others, which later showed in his best acting roles. Before he ever became a movie star, Garner did all kinds of jobs. He worked regular tough jobs, played football for a little while, and served in the U.S. Army during the Korean War. He got hurt twice there and won the Purple Heart Medal. All these things made him real and down-to-earth. He never liked fake people and always respected regular folks. People watching him on screen could feel that and trusted him right away. James Garner's road to being famous was not normal at all. He started acting almost by chance in the early 1950s. He studied a short time at the famous actor's studio in New York. Unlike lots of other stars, he never acted like a big fancy movie star. He kept things natural, quiet, talking like real people, and full of honest feelings. This way was new and fresh back then. It worked great. In 1957, when he got the part of Brett Maverick in the TV Western show Maverick, the role made Garner famous in every home. As the fun, smart, and kind of lazy cowboy with a gun, he changed how Western shows were done. He added laughs, smart jokes, and brains to a kind of story that usually had serious tough guys. Maverick did more than make him a star. It set the way for his whole career. Over and over, he played guys who were clever instead of showy, good-hearted without preaching, and strong without bragging. Whether he was a detective, a soldier, a guy in love, or an old cowboy, Garner always showed kindness and calm power. Moving from TV to movies was easy for him. In films like The Great Escape in 1963, the Americanization of Emily in 1964, Grand Prix in 1966, and Support Your Local Sheriff in 1969, he showed he could do serious stories, funny ones, and action all really well. One big thing about Garner was he never let the big studios push him around. Back then actors had almost no power, but he fought them in court over bad contracts and won. His court fights with Warner Brothers and later Universal made him a secret hero for actors' rights. Everyone in the business respected him for it. Garner did not try to be an activist, but standing up for what was fair showed the same honest character he had in his life and work. In 1974, Garner came back strong to TV with the Rockford Files. He created one of the most famous TV characters ever, Private Eye Jim Rockford. Unlike the smooth detectives on other shows, Rockford was always short on money, beat up a lot, and kept his feelings inside, but everyone liked him anyway. Garner put funny moments, soft spots, and real human feelings into the part. He won an Emmy award and made sure everyone remembered him as a TV genius. The show stayed popular for years and changed many crime shows that came after. Even when he got older, Garner's fame never went away. He took older roles with class and gave really touching performances in movies, like Murphy's Romance in 1985, which got him an Oscar nomination, and Space Cowboys in 2000, maybe the sweetest one, was playing the older Noah Calhoun in The Notebook in 2004. He showed gentle, strong love that lasts forever and made a whole new group of young fans love him. James Garner's love story was different, open, and lasted a really long time, just Like the man himself, it was a rare Hollywood marriage that beat the odds and stayed strong quietly for years. Garner was married only once, to Lois Josephine Fletchman Clark. She became more than his wife. She was the steady support in his heart for almost 60 years. They met at a party in 1956, and things moved super fast. In those days, stars usually dated for a long time before getting married, but Garner knew right away, just 16 days after they met. On August 17, 1956, James Garner and Lois Clark got married. People were surprised, but it turned out to be one of the longest marriages in Hollywood ever. Garner later talked about rushing into it with his usual honest and funny way. "We went to dinner every night. For 14 nights, he remembered. I was just crazy about her." Their honeymoon was simple, not fancy at all, especially for someone who would become a big star. Garner joked that he spent only $77 on the whole trip, and it almost made him broke. But that simple start with real love and respect showed what their marriage would be like, real and grounded. Being famous, rich, and all the crazy Hollywood stuff never ran their relationship. Staying committed did. Garner often talked about marriage with jokes and real wisdom he learned. He compared it to the army once, saying, "Marriage is like the army. Everyone complains, but you'd be surprised how many people sign up again." Behind the joke was truth. Garner knew long marriages are not perfect. They take sticking with it. His words came from a man who went through good and bad times in marriage and still believed in it. When they got married, Lois Clark already had a young daughter from before. Her 9-year-old girl was getting better from polio, a bad sickness back in the 1950s. Garner did not think twice. He stepped up right away as a loving dad to both Lois and her daughter. He took them as his family just like that. This kind act early on showed so much about who Garner really was. It matched the good person people saw on screen. In 1958, James and Lois had their only child together, a daughter named Greta. Everyone called her Gigi. Became the heart of their family. Even with Garner's busy job and lots of travel, he always put being a husband and dad first when he could. While many Hollywood marriages fall apart, the Garners worked hard to keep their home life private and safe from all the fame. Their marriage had tough times too. Over the years, James and Lois had 2 breaks. One lasted 3 months in 1970 and another started in 1979. Unlike lots of famous couples who split forever, these breaks made their love stronger in the end. After some time apart and thinking things over, they got back together in September 1981. They chose to stay married again because of love, loyalty, and all their years together. It was not a big public show. It was a quiet choice from the heart. Amazingly, James Garner and Lois Clark stayed married until he died in 2014. In a world where Hollywood love stories often end fast and broken, their almost 58-year marriage was a quiet proof of sticking it out, forgiving, and real partnership. Lois followed Judaism and Garner respected her beliefs. They handled their differences with care and understanding. Another way they showed respect instead of just giving in. In the quiet end of his life, James Garner, one of Hollywood's most loved leading men, started looking back more than ahead. Fame gave him all the things people say make a man happy: success, people liking him, a long career, and respect. But when he wrote his last note to Doris Day, his old friend and fellow star, what came out was not bragging. It was pure honesty. It was a confession from a man who finally felt okay with who he really was. "I never said enough when it mattered," Garner wrote. "We spent our lives smiling for cameras, being brave for everyone else, but rarely honest about the heavy things we carried." His words were not big and dramatic. They were simple and straight, just like him. Garner always hated the fake side of being famous. He called himself an accidental movie star. In the note, he admitted his easygoing look was really a wall to hide behind. "People thought I was relaxed and not worried," he wrote. "Truth is, I worried all the time about work, about money, about whether I deserved any of it." To Doris Day, who hid her own sad times behind a happy face, Garner opened up in a rare way. "You understood better than anyone how lonely it can be when everyone adores you," he said. He thought about how Hollywood wants you perfect but gives no kindness when you mess up. Contracts were mean, studios controlled everything, and the pressure to stay likable never stopped. "I fought them when I could," he wrote, talking about his big fights for fair treatment. "But even when I won, I felt tired. Fighting shouldn't have to be the price of being treated right." Garner also faced his regrets. He talked about parts he missed, relationships that got hurt, and how hard it was to always play the nice guy. "I wish I'd been kinder to myself," he said. "I wish I hadn't thought just hanging on was the same as being strong." His note talked about how his old injuries and constant pain hurt him inside too. "There were days I smiled through pain so bad it scared me," he wrote. "I didn't want to let anyone down, fans, producers, even people I didn't know." The most touching part was about friendship. His connection with Doris Day was special in Hollywood. It was trust with no strings. "You never asked me to be anything other than Jim," he wrote. "No charm, no lines, no act." He thanked her for proving kindness could last even with fame. "You showed that being decent was not weak in this business. It was brave." As the note came close to ending, Garner got soft and thoughtful. "If this is the last thing I leave behind," he wrote, "I want it to be the truth." He said thanks for his wife, his family, and the fans who stayed with him all those years. But he did not make his life sound perfect. "It wasn't perfect. I wasn't perfect, but I tried to be fair, and I tried to be real." His very last words to Doris Day were simple, but strong. "If I've learned anything," Garner wrote, "it's that being kind lasts longer than being famous. We outlived the noise, Doris. Maybe that was the point all along." The note was not a sad goodbye. It was a quiet letting go. In telling it all, James Garner did what he did best his whole career. He told the truth without any show, and by doing that, he left something bigger than being a star. A reminder that even the most loved lives matter because of honesty, being humble, and having the courage to speak from the heart at last. James Garner and Doris Day were loved Hollywood stars who had a warm friendship for decades. They starred together in two funny love movies in 1963, The Thrill of It All and Move Over, Darling. They played married couples and got along great right away because they both had real, down-to-earth Midwestern personalities. James Garner's later years had his fame still strong, but also a long, hard fight with serious health problems that tested his tough side. During the tough filming of the Rockford Files in the 1970s, a show that needed him to do lots of physical stuff and stunts, Garner's knees started getting really bad. What began as normal wear turned into a big, painful problem that never went away. Over that time he had 6 or 7 knee surgeries. He kept going back to work even with pain and trouble moving. The damage got so bad that in 2000 Garner had both knees replaced completely. It showed how much his body gave for his job. His troubles were not just his knees. On April 22, 1988, Garner had a very serious heart problem. He had quintuple bypass heart surgery. It was a big and scary operation, but people close to him were amazed how fast he got better. Doctors told him to quit smoking, a habit he had most of his life. Quitting was hard, but Garner finally did it in 2005. His daughter Gigi Garner later said how big a deal it was. Her dad started smoking when he was only 12, so stopping was huge. In May 2008, Garner had another bad health moment. He had a stroke. 2 days later, on May 11th, he had surgery because of it. Even though it was serious, his doctors said he would do well and gave hope to his fans. But the stroke changed things, and his health never got fully back to normal. On July 19, 2014, help was called to Garner's home in Brentwood, Los Angeles. They found the loved actor had passed away peacefully at age 86. He died from a heart attack caused by heart artery disease. His health had been getting worse since the stroke years before. His body, tired from years of hard work and sickness, finally stopped. James Garner's health fights showed a quieter, very human side of the movie legend. It was a side full of toughness, never giving up, and keeping his dignity. Even when his health got bad, he faced it all with the same quiet strength he showed in his movies. He left behind not just great work on screen, but a lasting example of being brave when things are hard.